Alrighty, so my NT scan. It was on Monday. And for anybody that doesn't know, it's a nuclear translucency scan. It's done for Down syndrome. I wasn't having mine done necessarily for the Down syndrome. To me, I could care less. It's, I guess it'd be nice to know because then you could prepare for baby and things like that. But what I needed it for was to determine if I was having a VBAC or not. And the reason why it's a VBAC or not, my brother was born with the sac that holds the extra fluid for your brain was on the outside of his head. And he was either he was a day old or 2 days old, and they did the surgery to basically keep him alive. But they had no idea my brother had it, and my mom had him vaginally, which then they were concerned about leaking, the fluid leaking, because if that happened, then my brother would be dead, and then, So, and before, like, all you first-time pregnant mommies that are watching me freak out, it's, like my doctor said, and my mom's doctor said, well, at that time, she was actually told that all of her kids would have it, so, and I didn't, so, things have changed and research has changed. Like the doctor told me, it's a genetic hiccup. It can go two ways. It could either, my brother and I both could have kids that have the problem, and he said, or it could be just a genetic hiccup and we never see it again. But that's why he recommends, my doctor, the high-risk doctor, recommended that I had the NT scan done, and actually he was kind of frustrated that I didn't have it done with my daughter, but that's a whole different thing. And that my brother, all of his kids, his wife has to have it. And then my kids, when they have their children, they have to have the scan done. My brother's kids, obviously, my nephew and my niece, and, well, I don't have a niece, but my nephew, when he gets married, and that he'll have to do it too. And then mine is all done, but basically my brother's great-grandchild will have to have had the scan done on them. And then they said then the genetics kind of, get more watered down and things like that. So they said at that point, the risk is low. So, so that's why we had the NT scan done, because if like I told my husband, if they are like more than 65% sure that the baby has it, and the thing is they don't know exactly 100% sure until 35 weeks when they do that scan. They will do it 3D, and at that point they can say absolutely yes, now you are, I'm delivering at the main hospital and things like that, or no, we're wrong. So but we decided that if it's more than 65 excuse me, at my 20-week scan, we're not having a VBAC, because I'm not risking. So we had it done, and unfortunately my doctor, he was snowed in, and so was his wife, and one of the other doctors, she had her baby actually 4 weeks early, so she was out. Obviously she wasn't supposed to be out until the end of that, because she was supposed to go out at 37 weeks, and that's not for another 4 weeks, so she had a preemie. So obviously she wasn't supposed to go out until 37 weeks, so she was supposed to be there for another 4 weeks. So yeah, I think I said that right. Yeah. So anyways, I was talking, the tech was doing it, and she said, oh, I see that I need to really check the back of the head. She said, not for the Down syndrome, because she said, you're measuring perfect. She's like, the blood test will tell us more, but this part of it is telling us you're good. She said, I need to check that. And of course, our baby was a little Mexican jumping bean. And I did have tacos on Sunday, so baby was hopping, moving, wiggling. And so she's like, I can't really get a good look. And then she finally snapped it. And she said, I don't know if that's a shadow or it could be the beginnings of it. She said, she's like, I can't decipher it. She's like, I can read your doctor, my main doctor, the one that I love, that absolutely adore her, and the high-risk doctor's wife, had put in there to, be very honest with me and upfront with me, don't sugarcoat. And he had put, be gentle. So she's like, I don't know where to go on this. She's like, I want to be honest with you that it could be, or it could not be. So she said, you need to come back in 2 weeks. She said, but as soon as he's in, he's going to look at it. And they sent it up to the main hospital, the results. And the images for him, for one of the other specialists to look at it. So I have been waiting since Monday. So I had to go through all of Monday, because it was a 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning appointment. I had to go through all of Monday going, okay. And then all of yesterday, and then this afternoon, he called me during his lunch, because he like he said, he didn't want to have to, it was a quiet day, so he knew he could take the time to talk to me. And like he said, his gut is saying the baby, it looks like it to him, the beginning of it. He said the name. There's no way I'm even going to try to pronounce it again. And like my mom said, optical is the only thing that she remembers of it. But we all know exactly what it is. So like even the doctor said, oh, it's blah, blah. So, and if anybody knows it, please put it down, because I'm not even sure how to spell it. Nothing. So if somebody knows, please put it down below in your comment. And I will not Google it. I promise my doctor I will not Google it. But do you know how hard it is to Google what, with just a description? It's very hard. So I guess he's safe and lucky on that. But so anyways, so he called today, and like I said, he said his gut is telling him, I don't think so, and his heart is going, oh, I hope not, I hope it's just a shadow. And so when I was talking to him on the phone, he's like, well, you have the option to abort because, and I said, I can't. There's no way. I said, and he's like, we just have to, so and I'm like, I can't. I'm like, that's not even what I'm concerned about. And like, even when I was talking to my mom about it, and she's like, well, look at your brother. And I'm like, that's the point. I'm looking at my brother. He's perfectly fine. He's 28 years old. He's perfectly fine. He has normal speech. Everything. There's nothing wrong with him. But what the worst part, and the part that I am worried about, is the scar. And before I get that, well, it's just a superficial scar. No, it has nothing to do with the scar. I could care less. To me, I could care less if my brother has a scar on the back of his head. It means nothing to me except for the fact that that's there because my brother's here. So, trust me, that's not it. What it is it bothered me so much of having the kids go, well, what's that on the back of your head? Did you have a brain transplant? And things like that. It upset me as his little sister. It bugged me, and I would get ticked off about it because he's my brother, and I love him, and that scar is there because he's here. So the idea of having my child have to go through that harassment too is what I'm worried about. And I'm sorry that, because I'm not concerned, because I know that the technology is so much better and things like that. And I look at my brother and I go, you're 28 years old, you're fine from the surgery. That's not what I'm concerned about. And as odd as it sounds, I'm not worried about the baby making it, because I know the baby will. And we'll be fine from the surgery because of my brother, but it's that scar that that bothers me. And I was talking to my brother about it, and he said, yeah, it bothered him. Like he said, that's the only thing that he's like, you're proud of that scar because you know that that scar's there because you're here. And he's like, but the problem is, kids are so cruel. And my brother had no idea how much it really bothered me as his little sister. And I guess that's just where I'm with it. You know, as a mom, you don't want your baby to be made fun of. You don't want your baby to get picked on. You don't want those things for your baby. But my mom, when she had my brother and had the surgery, they said, oh, it'll be a tiny little pencil line. It's not. It's noticeable. So my brother tries to let his hair grow out a little bit so that way nobody knows. And like this time of year, he has his hair a little bit longer so nobody really sees it. But in the summer, he shaves his whole head and it's really noticeable. And I'm mad that people would pick on that. And, well, the kids would pick on it because it's, to me, it's just a scar. I have a C-section scar. Granted, yet nobody sees it, but I don't care. And I don't care about the scar. I just, ugh. Because even when I was talking with a friend, and she's like, oh my gosh, you must be terrified about the baby making it. And I said, no, I know the baby will. And she's like, okay. And I said, my brother, I look at him. It's just like, well, then what's the problem? I said, that scar. And it's not really the scar as it is the other kids. And then thinking about my two that are here, you know, they're going to hear somebody talking about their little sibling, their little sister, their little brother. And, you know, like my mom said, you know, she knew. But she said, but actually hearing you say that it really ticked you off, she said, it's a very proud moment as a parent, because she's like, you want your children to protect each other. So she's like, to hear that you got upset and it bothered you, and I would, you know, I tell people, leave him alone. And of course then they start picking on me, but I was okay with it. Pick on me, but don't pick on his scar. Leave that alone. So that's what, and I go back Friday because the high-risk doctor wants to do it himself. I'll officially have the rescan on the, for the NT scan done on the, I'll be 14 weeks, which they said they don't really like to do that, but, because it's 13 weeks and 4 days that they like to have the NT scan done, but they want to do it at 14 weeks because they can't fit me in. But they said that's not, they're trying to just look at the back of the head. So, and I'll include the pictures of the NT scan, the ultrasound. And they did a 3D so that, because they were trying to look at it. And of course he was trying to make me feel better, and he's like, I think it's a girl. And then, like I told my mom and my brother too, he's like, if it's a girl, nobody will ever see that scar. Which they're right. Nobody will ever see that scar. Except for when they're little and they're tiny, and then you just, you know, put a little hat on them and have a hat on them all the time and nobody will ever know. So they grow hair and... But, yeah, so that's what's going on. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.